Home Affairs and Internal Security, Honorable Mwiimbu, as well as the Acting Minister of Information and Media, Honorable Edgar Lungu. So for now, we'll go straight into the program, and I'll be handing over to the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Information and Media, Mr. Kawana, to get us on with the program and let us know what's going to follow.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen of the press. Welcome to the Ministry of Information and Media, your ministry. I want to say thank you also for responding to the call-out at the short notice. It is my rare honor and privilege now to ask the Acting Minister of Information and Media, Honorable Edgar Lungu, MP, to call on the Minister of Home Affairs to address us. Honorable Minister.
Thank you, PS. It is indeed my privilege and honor to request a colleague and friend, Honorable Minister of Home Affairs, to make comments responding to the recent happenings in our country regarding the issue of former President Edgar Lungu and his visit into Kabwe. I will also speak to the same matter against the events that happened a fortnight ago with President Edgar Lungu. Honorable Ministers.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister, Honorable Edgar Lungu, for giving me this rare opportunity to address the nation pertaining to issues of national interest that have been topical of late. Ladies and gentlemen, I have called this press briefing to update you, and through you, the nation at large, on a number of national matters. Let me start by addressing the recent statements and activities of former President Mr. Edgar Lungu. Government would like to remind Mr. Lungu that the privileges and powers he currently enjoys are a result of his tenure while in office. And they do not, I repeat, and they do not extend to actions taken after his presidency. I want to state on behalf of government and to inform the nation that there has been a misconception where members of the opposition have been informing the public that President Lungu has immunity pertaining to his activities, being former president. I would like to state, without any fear of any contradiction, that the immunity that President Lungu enjoys relates to matters that were done or incidental to his presidency, which presidency ended in August 2021. Any activities outside the law after his term of office ended are subject to the laws of this country. And there is no immunity that covers him for those activities. I thought I should make that abundantly clear to President Lungu and his fellow opposition leaders who are purportedly misleading him that he has immunity. According to the Public Order Act, there are clear procedures that must be followed before holding any public meeting or procession. These procedures are designed to ensure public safety and order. and they apply to all citizens without exception. Former President Lungu is well aware of these requirements, given his extensive experience in public office, and should therefore adhere to them accordingly. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been made aware of a trending video showing former President Edgar Lungu in the office of our Catholic priest in Kabul, wherein they were engaged in a conversation with a police officer. We are studying this exchange not only from what is visible in the video, but also considering the unseen events and circumstances that preceded it. We recognize that Mr. Edgar Lungu, former president of this republic and now an opposition politician, is free to go wherever he pleases. However, it must be noted that he is a distinct leader, and he cannot fall in the same category with other opposition political leaders due to his status as a former head of state, which garners particular security interest from the police. It must be noted, it is the responsibility of the Zambia Police Service and any other security institution in this country to ensure that wherever he goes, he is provided with security. It would be inimical to the interest of the nation that harm falls on him. However, we would like to sincerely apologize. I repeat, we would like to sincerely apologize to the church, the Catholic Church, pertaining to the incident that happened in Kabul. It has never been the intention of the government to harass the church or harass anybody who interacts with the church. We as government cherish the relationship that exists between the church and government. The church is not our opponent. The church is our partner. We are always looking forward to working with the church. You are aware that on so many occasions the President has made particular pronouncements where he has called on the church to partner with us to save the nation. And that is what we believe in. I would like to state that the incident is very unfortunate, it's regrettable. And we would like to urge our law enforcement officers, whenever issues of a similar nature occurs, to exercise maximum restraint when it comes to dealing with the church. That is our position. We apologize to the church, and we would like to state that we are going to follow up this particular issue and establish the actual circumstances and what led the policeman to behave the way he behaved. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to re-emphasize that it is important for all individuals, regardless of their positions or previous positions in society, to respect the rule of law and establish procedures. Government remains committed to upholding these principles to ensure a safe and orderly society for all Zambians. Lastly, let me take this opportunity to address some of the issues raised by an organization which considers itself to be existing illegally during their press briefing earlier in the day. Government takes all allegations seriously and wish to address each point to clarify our position and actions. 1. They have made allegations pertaining to infringement on rights and freedoms. We would like to state that government is committed to upholding the rights and freedoms of all citizens. And actions by the police are conducted within the framework of the law to ensure public safety and order. I also want to state, if there is any transgression by the Zambia Police Service or any other security agency, there are procedures that are required to be followed to ensure that there is conformity with the law. The second one is the issue of confiscation of Mwiimbu by the Zambia National Service. We would like to state that the Zambia National Service is an institution that is created by the Constitution of this country and is guided by regulations and laws of this country. The specific incident mentioned is under review to ensure that all actions were justified and lawful. We will provide further details once the review is complete. 3. The term administration warning. We would like to make it very clear that government respects the democratic process and the right of citizens to express their opinions. We remain focused on delivering our mandate and addressing the needs of the Zambian people. We are aware of the demands that we should hold fresh elections. Everyone knows what the Constitution of this country provides. The government is committed to ensuring the provisions of the current Constitution are adhered to the letter of the law. There is no justifiable reason or cause for anyone to call for fresh elections. We are aware of what motivates these demands by the opposition. We are aware of government, of the activities of the opposition, which they are planning to ensure that this country becomes ungovernable. We are aware of the activities which they intend to take so that the government is forced to call for fresh elections. I want to state that we have a mandate given to us by the people of Zambia to run and manage the affairs of this country until August 2026. If the few individuals who want to call for fresh elections are agitating for a fresh elections, let them reflect very seriously. Let them be reminded of the results of 2021. Some of those individuals who are calling for fresh elections do not even have membership anywhere in this country. They don't even have office bearers. In short, they are not even complying with the requirements of the law pertaining to running political parties. We are aware of individuals within that grouping who are getting 0 during the recent general election. We strongly believe that there are no justifiable reasons that have arisen to call for this, general election which they want to have, apart from wanting to foment chaos in the country. I repeat, government has no intention whatsoever to call for fresh elections. Elections will be held in accordance with the constitution of this country. Let them just mobilize themselves so that at least they can get more than 0 during the coming elections. We also want to state that this government has a lot of respect for the church and will continue working with the church to ensure that we deliver services on behalf of the people of Zambia. We also want to state that we as government do not condone name calling and abuse of others in the political arena. We have noted with concern statements that are being made by leaders in opposition pertaining to specific individuals where abuse is the order of the day. It must be noted that there are laws in this country that regulate our conduct. And I would like to state that the laws that regulate the way we interact with each other were not, I repeat, were not enacted by the UPND. Most of those laws that are currently in force were enacted by the former regimes. I also want to respond and state that the Zambia Police Service and officers under the Zambia Police Service are required under the Constitution and other laws that are applicable to conduct their affairs professionally. I would like to state that the Inspector General of Police and his command will look at all issues that are being raised and where appropriate action by the police themselves will be taken. I also want to state that under the current constitution, and if members of the public are not aware, there is the Police Public Complaints Commission, which addresses issues of police misconduct. If members of the public are aggrieved, let them follow that procedure and report officers who are misconducting themselves. I also want to state that we have no intention whatsoever to harass any political opponent. We have no intention. We have always stated that we shall ensure that we abide by the rules and processes that are currently in force. We are not the authors of the Public Order Act. We are not. The Public Order Act was authored by our colleagues and ourselves, because we are committed to reforming the law, because we know what we went through. We are in the process of submitting a new public gathering bill after consultations with the other stakeholders, because we are committed to wanting to ensure that there is a level playing field and that there's law and order in this country. The issue of is it Uka or Ukwa? Ukwa. I hear Ukwa are saying that the registrar of societies is frustrating the registration. I will not want to go in detail because I'm not the registrar of societies. But I'm aware, arising from the statements that have been issued by the registrar of societies, that there hasn't been any formal applications to register. There hasn't been. And you are aware that at one time I did address the nation to say that from the time they had reserved a name, Uka or Ukwa, whatever it is, they never came back. And the name registration process lapsed, entailing that it's no longer the domain of anybody to own that particular name. It is not me. It is themselves. So they had reserved and then they went outside the law. So it is not an issue which we like to address ourselves. Further, the same Uka or Ukwa have been telling the nation that there is no need to register any alliance because the law does not require them to register. They have stated it. I don't know why it's now becoming an issue pertaining to the registration. I'm not the one who said there is no need. I'm aware they were lambasting me when I said, Uka is not a legal entity which can apply for any processions or rallies. They were saying, there was no need. But here it is now, they are holding, these press briefings on this same issue. Lastly, on my part, I would like to state that we are aware that tomorrow, the 19th, UCA is going to have a prayer session which they are calling Prayer for the Nation. I would like to state that they should not pray for the nation. They should pray for themselves. Because if you want to pray for the nation, you don't need to call for a special dedication. You can pray every day to pray for the nation. And after all, there is a day that was dedicated to pray for the nation. Is it in October? In October. 18th of October. Which was promulgated by themselves. And President Edgar Lungu. I don't know what more sins have been committed by themselves now that they would like to pray for the nation. I don't know what prayers they want to hold, but I can safely say that let them pray for themselves so that they can be responsible opposition in this country. Honorable Minister, once again I would like to thank you most sincerely for giving me this opportunity to respond to a number of issues, in particular the unfortunate incident that occurred in Kabul. And once again, I would like to sincerely apologize to the church, specifically the Catholic Church in Kabul. It was not the intention of government to create a very unfortunate situation that obtained. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. May I now ask the Acting Minister for Information and Media, Honorable Edgar Lungu, to address the media.
Thank you. I think everything has pretty much been said, but for me, I think it is also important to re-emphasize the atonement to the church, the apology to the church, and particularly to the Bishop of Kabwe for what appears to have been heavy-handedness on the part of the officer. But the minister has already put it clearly that the entire circumstance of that visit of the officer will be looked into, because what we saw was definitely not pleasing. And so we ask that the Bishop Mlenga finds a place in his heart to understand that sometimes police officers can go beyond the line. The topic that is within many who are opposing today is that they're saying President Hakainde Hichilema committed to doing things differently around the issue of public order. I want to also re-emphasize that as a government, we are committed not only to build, but to uphold a safe and orderly society in this, our country, Zambia. Last week, I am sure I'm trying to make a comparison and contrasting between the conduct of the police here in Lusaka when President Edgar Lungu decided to make an impromptu, unauthorized procession where he walked about the central business district of Lusaka, in others creating excitement, in others creating agitation. He did not follow any procedure that is required to follow when one wants to conduct a public procession, especially in a public place such as Soweto Market. The untold story is that as a result of President Lungu's visit to Soweto Market, there were a lot of mixed feelings among the people he found there, because I'm the minister responsible for local government, which includes markets. I can confirm that what President Lungu left in that market after his visit was chaos. A place that had ordinarily been enjoying peaceful coexistence among people who are affiliated to different political parties rose against each other. They started fighting. This is the untold story, and this is what President Lungu requires to understand, that he's not an ordinary citizen. He needs protection, and his actions require that they provide protection for even the innocent. On the day when he visited Soweto Market, there were people that came from all over the place, not only in Lusaka, because Soweto is a melting pot where people come to trade. And his visit created chaos. Yes, I can confirm that in the instance of the visit in Soweto, we have proved that President Hakainde Hichilema is doing things different. Because in the past, I can bet you my bottom kwacha, a lot of people would have been fed with tear gas that day. They would have been fed with a lot of tear gas. And the police, the same police that Honorable Mwiimbu presides over, all they did is just followed him without disturbing him. And anybody with a right conscience, a living conscience, would have actually known that I'm creating trouble here. It was President Lungu, and I'm sure that you who have the archives will produce what I'm about to exemplify, who said while he was president, there's a season for everything. There's a season to do politics. There's a season to engage in certain activities. There's also a season to develop. It was himself. During President Lungu, I want to confirm that the manner in which the Public Order Act was managed is totally different from the manner in which we are managing it today. And in case people have forgotten, we have a duty to remind one another. Because he who feels it knows it. During the time we're in the opposition, it's important that you know that if I were to visit the constituency that I represent, under President Lungu, it was a requirement. And it was a requirement by way of secular. written to all members of parliament that when you go to your constituents, first report at the police. Report yourself at the police to say you have come home. And I'm using that as an example because an MP, of course, is not an ordinary person by virtue of having been voted for. And we abided by those draconian regulations or misinterpretations of the Public Order Act. Each time I went to Mazapuka, I would go to the officer commanding or at least place a phone call to say, I am in Mazapuka and I have a program to meet so and so. And I think that is part of what the officer was saying to President Lungu, that you are not an ordinary person. And so when you are in the jurisdiction, it is only courteous you let us know that you are here. But obviously, this submission of mine is not standing in a position of justifying how far the policeman went. And I think the minister has adequately dealt with that, that we'll look into it and make sure that going into the future, there is smoother engagement between a public and the enforcers of the law. And therein is my example of why, going forward, I want to make an earnest appeal to President Lungu that you have your space. You have your space, but don't be a daredevil. We have also examples of how under President Lungu, I'm sure most of you recall, that President of MMD, Nevas Mumba, were in Lundazi, in a remote area in Lundazi, in a classroom, I think, addressing his party members. I think there were under 20 party members. And I'm sure the file will remind us that the heavy-handedness of the police that ejected President Nevas Mumba from that classroom was untold. It was totally untold. And I'm not justifying what the policeman has said because we have already atoned beyond measure about the way the policeman conducted himself. And as people who were given the mandate to look after people's interests and aspirations, we will bite the bullet. We will take the blame. Because that's what responsible leaders do. But going forward, I think that President Lungu must also remember not to be a daredevil. Because there's a price that comes alongside being a daredevil. In some of our languages, we say, go and influence the tough ones, they are going to throw the spear. President Lungu must learn that he's an old man, he cannot be influenced by people who want to see him in conflict with society. He requires to operate decently. But in the case of Cabo, again, we should not be misunderstood. An apology, an unreserved apology, has been rendered to the church in general, to the Catholic Church, and particularly to Bishop Lungu. I thought I must add that word to the minister's submission.
Thank you very much, honorable ministers. Members of the press, maybe now we can turn our focus and attention to the screen on this side. I think just to buttress what the honorable ministers have stated, just to illustrate and show. Can we have that first?
Movement for multi-party democracy MMD officials gathered in Lundazi at Gomatima Hall to listen to their party leader, Dr. Nevas Mumba. Police officers arrived and harassed journalists that were taking pictures. As the meeting was in session, armed police officers entered with an aim of stopping the meeting.
They come to you, enemies of the party, and they said PF and MMD mean double sin, and we are in an alliance. That is a lie.
the hall, police officers left and the MMD members rejoiced. Their celebration was indeed short-lived, though Dr. Mumba bravely continued with the meeting, but an overzealous police officer threw a tear gas canister in the hall.
I'm glad to announce to you, Mundazi, that your party now is united. The problems we were having before, they are over, and now we are a united political party.
Therein lies the difference. The same Public Order Act shows you the difference of how it is implemented when you have an administration that is a government of laws as opposed to a government of men. Next clip, please. Just 2 more short clips.
Messing up everything. Only one man in the way. You ask yourself, now, what's so special? Well, we one day have a Tonga president, but certainly not the current aspirant.
I think you are seeing here that our former president was playing God by predetermining that this particular candidate, and that was President Hakainde Hichilema then, will not be president. And today he's president. I guess maybe, it may be, just speculating why his conduct is like that. Maybe he still can't agree, believe, and accept that the man that he prophesied that will never be president of this country is actually the man that the people of Zambia said, you will be our leader for the next 5 years. The last clip, please.
There is one on Zambia being in a state of national security or insecurity because the people are not allowed to hold meetings. Just let me understand one thing. Don't we have a season when we can start campaigning and gathering and holding public meetings and rallies? Really, Zambia, are you saying we should be campaigning from 2016 to 2021? I tend to think that sometimes it calls for common sense. You can mobilize, yes, somehow as a political party, but are we going to have the frenzy that goes with campaigns during the last 3 months or 6 months of elections? Don't we have a season when we can begin doing these things? I think that let's focus on things which matter. And things which matter now is the economy. Things which matter now is the well-being of this country. Once in a while, yes, you can go and hold a public meeting. But what I'm seeing in Zambia is that we really lack fanfare. We lack, having fun. It can't be fun all the time. There are times when you have to say, let's go and work. So for me, if the police think it's not in order to allow these gatherings to become the norm, they're perfectly within their right.
So with that, on that note of calling for common sense, if we agree that it calls for common sense in most of these things, what remains is for me to say thank you to the honorable ministers for having come and addressed the nation, and through you, the rest of the country, and also to thank you, members of the press, for having come at short notice to be able to pick what the honorable ministers have said. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this press.
Maybe, yes, we don't want a situation where we'll be accused that we have muzzled the press.
Oh.
If you have an issue in relation to the issues we have addressed today, please raise them now. And we are here with my colleague to respond to them.
Any questions? Follow-up questions? New questions?
I think we are happy.
Yes.
We are happy that we gave the opportunity to our colleague, member.
Everyone.
Yes.
You mentioned that the president is not an ordinary person. Maybe what are your recommendations? What is he supposed to be doing when he feels like going maybe in a part of the country?
Thank you very much. I tend to think that my colleague, Honorable Kombo, did address that issue. As you are aware, the current Public Order Act has provisions. If you want to hold a rally, if you want to hold a procession, you notify the police accordingly. And I did mention that the former president of the Republic of Zambia is a public figure. And it is the responsibility of us in the security wings to provide security. It must be noted that during the time of office, he may have offended some people. There may be some people who are not happy, and people who may want to be mischievous. It is therefore the responsibility of the security wings to offer protection. That is what we are saying ourselves as government.
And also, maybe to just add, thank you for that question. Under the Constitution of this Republic, former heads of states have an established office. It's an institution that interfaces at all times with government. I need you to know that we did not establish the rules of engagement between the former head of state and the current administration. They are there. It's a convention. For instance, I don't know if you know that for a head of state to leave the country, they must notify the sitting head of state. That is something that has been there from the time we had the second Republican president. And all the presidents have been following that convention, other than President Lungu. Now I can tell you that President Lungu can stand up and go anywhere. Okay? That is what he has been doing. And the president of this republic has not made a big deal out of it. There's a reason why those who came before us put those conventions. All right? But the point that I'm trying to buttress is that he has an office. Dr. Kaunda, even posthumously, I think his office is still there, or is winding down. President Chuluba has an office which interfaces with cabinet office at all times. So he's still part and parcel of government. But remember, it is him who woke up one day and said, look, me, I want to come back into active politics. I don't care about what comes with the former head of state. I want to save my party, PF. And he was within his right. No one stood up to say, no, don't save PF. He's now on a route of what some of us will call destabilization. He's a super kid. There are many opposition political parties. There are many, too many. Why is it that we are having trouble with only one person? And I'm saying this also without fear of any contradiction. That he is the super kid, the one who is fearless, the one who can do anything as he pleases, because some quarters have told him, and he's a lawyer, by the way, that he enjoys immunity. The immunity finished that day when we were at Mwiimbu Conference Center. After Judge Chulu made the pronouncement of the declaration of the president-elect, his immunity, post that moment, ended. And if he offends the law is going to come and say hi to him. It's as simple as all that. And people must also understand that from where we sit, we truly think he's become a troublemaker, President Lungu. he has become a troublemaker. And normally, when you're in that mode, you meet your Waterloo. I'm sure that's English. You meet your Waterloo at one point. The long winding arm of the law will come and say, sir, come. We have to have a conversation. Maybe that's what he's looking for. And so he's taking President Hakande's kindness for a weakness. In the area, he realizes that the fact that President Hakande has just ignored him, he must also tell his cohorts that whenever he's confronted with things that breach around contravening the law, they must leave Mr. Hakande alone. He is busy trying to fix what was damaged during President Lungu. That is his primary focus. And we have not forgotten that we are politicians anyway. Okay? And his quest to attract relevance, to attract, recognition is well noted, but he must do it decently. He must do it in a decent manner where he continues to have respect from all of us. We need mutual respect. All right? So definitely, President Lungu is being wayward, to put it simply. He won't get any notification of his trouble. It is a fact. We didn't lay the rules.
Any other?
I think we're done.
I have a question.
You have just leave him.
Apologies for coming late. What is your current, start with, let me introduce myself. I am Comrade Eric Sinjera from the Mwiimbu newspaper. What is your take on the current cases involving former government officials and politicians? Do you think these cases indicate a culture of corruption within the patriotic front leadership, or they are just mere isolated incidents?
Is that a text that someone sent to you?
No, it's me, myself. So that I can ask it.
Well, we will not want to discuss matters that are currently in court. But obviously, when people get convicted, there shouldn't be any issues of alleging victimization. These are matters that are currently in court. And when people are acquitted, well and good for them. If they are convicted, it shouldn't be an issue. And you should take note that those who are in government were aligned to peers. If they get convicted, it's evidence to show that there was corruption in the bill. That is our position.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, colleagues.